Hi everybody, Michelle McClunan here, astrologer and life coach, and welcome to 2022 or 2022, and what a year it promises to be. So I'm bringing you an update on the full moon, which is happening on the 17th, 18th of January, depending on where you live. In South Africa, it's in the very early hours of the morning at about 10 to 2, but it might fall into the day before if you live elsewhere. So this is a very big transformational full moon, and it tells us a lot about what we have coming in the next few months and over the next year. And I'm going to go into a little bit of what we can actually expect for the year as well. I did do a video on the new moon a couple of weeks ago, so if you missed that, you'll see it below, and that'll tell you a little bit more about the themes as well, because I visited them as well over there. So just in terms of the year ahead, before we dive into the full moon, that really is a year of extremes this year, much like the years that we've seen over the last 2 years. But it's a multifaceted year, it really is. So we're going to be seeing extremes. We're going to be seeing some more chaos, some more control, some more turbulence. We're definitely going to be seeing the breakdown, more of the breakdown of the old systems. And I believe that we're going to be also seeing evolution, revolution, inner evolution, transformation, bringing in the new, building new communities. And there's very powerful spiritual divine energy on our planet right now to actually help us with all this. This is what I believe to be true. And this is what is showing itself in the astrology for the next few months and for the year. This is going to be a year of deciding and committing to what's really important to us and honing that frequency. So raising our frequency. It's a year which is going to be all about frequency. At the moment, the planet is being upgraded, as I've discussed in the past, and we have a lot of light codes coming in to our planet, and we have to kind of catch up with that. So it's never been more important for us to do the inner work, and the astrology just bears that out as far as I can see. So if we just look at the full moon to start with, the full moon is in the sign of Cancer, which is opposite the sun in Capricorn. And not only is it opposite the sun in Capricorn, it's also opposite Pluto, which is right next to it. So basically what that does is it gives the full moon a very plutonic, which I'll explain in a minute, feel. It kind of intensifies the full moon to a large extent. So Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's the planet of alchemy. It melts away what we no longer need so that something new can be reborn. So it does feel very much like this is part of the transformation that we've all been experiencing. Just because it's a new year doesn't mean to say that the themes don't continue, because a new year is just a calendar year, whereas the energies that we have on the planet continue to evolve no matter what the calendar date is. So we've just got to be aware of that. Even though we wish each other a happy new year, it's a continuation of the old year. It's not as if everything gets cleared and something new starts. So we've got the continuation of some of the old energy from last year, and this is really part of the transformation, part of the alchemy. And if you think about, when you're melting gold or you're melting metal to make something new, there's a breakdown, there's a dissolution before, and it sort of goes into a liquid form before it then can be molded into something new. And that's what this full moon is about. It's what is transforming in our lives. What do we need to let go of? Looking at our beliefs, looking at where we choose to focus our energy. The sun is in Capricorn. It's being joined, and I'll explain that in a sec, by many other influences, Capricornian influences. So we're not finished with Capricorn at all. In fact, the themes for the year are very Capricornian due to Pluto and what Pluto is doing this year. So this full moon is kind of almost setting the scene for the Pluto effect this year, which is out with the old, in with the new, but it can feel uncomfortable because the old is dissolving And that's what needs to happen. If you're casting bronze, or if you're casting gold, or if you're working with alchemy, metallic alchemy, you know that it completely changes form. And that old form gets melted away so something new can be made, can be molded. So this is the molding of a new earth. And usually at this time of the year, especially with full moon and new moon around the Capricorn, Cancer signs, we look at our own personal goals, where we want to be, what we want to achieve, how we want to achieve it, and we set our goals towards the new. I see this year and what's happening with us on our planet, this is a time for us to look at the bigger picture, to look at humanity, to say, what do we want for our kids? What do we want for our grandkids? What do we want for future generations? It's not just about us. And for us not to be too attached to our old beliefs. We have the planet Jupiter that's moved into Pisces and is going to be combining and connecting with the planet Neptune. And what that says is there can be a disillusionment of our old beliefs. So disillusionment can sound awful because it's disillusioning, but it's also the dissolution of old deceptions, of waking up to the realization that we've been conned, waking up to the realization that what we believed might not be true. So waking up to the delusion. And that's part of what's going to be happening this year. And in so doing, choosing what we want to commit to, which is a Capricorn word, going forward into our year. What do we want to commit to? Are we committing to, do we want a life where we are controlled, where our children are controlled, or do we want a life where we're free, to be sovereign, to be co-creators, to live together in community? And that's very much the theme that we're going through on our planet, and it's definitely borne out by this full moon. Full moon in Cancer is about nurturing. It's about home. It's about finding home within us. It's opposite Pluto and the Sun in Capricorn, which is about structures. It's about responsibility. So taking responsibility is a huge theme right now. What are we actually taking responsibility for? What are we responsible for? Well, we're responsible for our own frequency. We can choose our frequency. We are not victims. We don't need to be swept off into someone else's illusion. So we can choose our frequency. So what frequency are we choosing? How do we want to live? How do we want to feel going into the new year, into the new earth? Because this is not just about a new year, it's about the new earth. We are building a new earth. That's what we're busy doing. And so it's essential that we see that we are co-creating that, and that our intentions will feed into that new earth vision. So it's very, very strong. And this dissolving of the old, the dissolving of impurities, the dissolving of old ways of thinking, old ways of being, old patterns, those patterns that keep coming around and around and around, those old fears, the old conditioning, the things that we've been taught to believe. It's dissolving that. The old systems, we can see it all over the world, the old systems of government, the old systems of society, the old medical systems, they're desperately trying to hang on to their power, but they aren't actually making it. So the old is crumbling, and it's a process. I've been saying this for a couple of years. It's a process. So we're part of that process, and how are we going to be part of that process? And a good question to ask at this full moon is, as I said, what do I want to see for the future? Even if I'm older and I might not be around to see it, what seeds do I want to plant? How can I assist in building a new earth? It's a new earth, okay? What would that new earth look like? What would it feel like? And then to feel that feeling on a daily basis. So if you wanted a community and an earth that is joyful, that is loving, that is unified, where there's community, there's art, there's music, there's dance, then that's what we've got to feed into the field. We are co-creating it. What am I prepared to commit to is another really big question at this full moon. And full moons always light up, they ignite, they show us, they can actually give us insights into what our soul desires. They can give us bigger insights. They can also shine their light on our issues, and they can bring out emotions. So it's just to be aware of that as well. Particularly with Pluto around, there can be intense emotional stuff coming up as well. But what do I want for my children? What do I want going forward? Where do I stand? What do I stand for? Do I stand for freedom? And if so, what does that mean? Irrespective of the choices that I'm making or have made, or where I stand physically, what do I actually stand for? Another question is, what am I prepared to commit to? What am I prepared to push my energy, insert my energy into, to grow? How can I do that? What do I want to nurture? That's the full moon in Cancer. What do I want to nurture, and how would I nurture it? Possibly it's on a practical level. It's nurturing a new home. It's nurturing plants so that we can actually move into a more sustainable way of living in terms of what we eat. That's a very strong theme that's coming in. We have this Uranus in Taurus, which has been working with us for a while now. And on the day of the full moon, it actually stations and turns direct. So it's been retrograde, it turns direct. So there's a sort of a of Uranian energy as well as Taurian energy. On the same day as the full moon, the moon's nodes move onto the axis of the Taurus Scorpio axis, which is about a new earth. That's why I'm saying this is about the new earth. It's about how do we eat? How, is the food that we're eating, that we're buying from the supermarket, is it actually nutritious? What are the chemicals that are being used on that food, sprayed on the food? Is it feeding us or destroying us? Those are questions to ask. Our food supplies have been slowed down and possibly will be slowed down more. So I think it's really important for us to become self-sufficient if we can. Even if you grow, sprouts, so that they actually give you that nutrition that you need, or microgreens, or in many different ways of doing it. And this is where we need to actually apply ourselves and say, okay, how can I become more sustainable? How can we really eat foods that are nutritious and that are actually feeding our light body rather than demolishing our light body? It's a focus on our bodies, on our health, on our robust health or not. What are we choosing in terms of our medical decisions? And should that be adjusted? The other question is, what is the truth? The truth that's been perpetuated on the mainstream might not necessarily be the truth. So each of us is in a situation, in a position where we can question that truth. There's a lot of illusion around. There's a lot of deception around on all sides. It's to actually connect with the heart and connect with our inner knowing of what's true, irrespective of what you might have believed to be true, what people might have told you that you've taken on as truth. This is the time that we've been waiting for. This is the time of transformation, and it is the time where we're building a new paradigm. There's no doubt. How long that'll take, we don't know. Nobody knows. We're in the process. The other clue that the full moon gives us is that this is the time where we're really looking at, where is our power? Where do we find our power from? Do we find our power from outside? Do we find it from inside? How do we become more sovereign? What does sovereign mean? Sovereignty means I stand in my own true power, despite the opinion and actions of others. So even though somebody might disagree with my choices, I stand with them. I stand firmly with them because I know them to be true. This is a year, and the full moon gives us this in technicolor, of resilience, endurance. There's a very big theme here because we have the planet Pluto in Capricorn. We have that adjacent to the sun right now with this full moon. It's leading up to that over the next few days. I'm doing this, I think it's on the 13th. It's building up to that on the 17th, 18th. So the intensity is kind of building towards that. You might be feeling it. You might be revisiting old things that you don't need anymore, and you might be letting go. You might be looking at the conditioning, at the fears. Saturn can often, Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, can often bring up old fears. We've got Mercury, which is actually in Aquarius right now, going stationing, which means it stands still, becomes even more intense, and then it goes into Capricorn. It joins Venus that's in Capricorn, Mars will be moving into Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn. So there's a very strong Capricorn energy, and it's almost with the Mercury retrograde, it's revisiting anything which you haven't quite let go of, anything which you haven't quite resolved, so that you can actually move forward. So there's kind of a revisitation, there's a backward reflection, reflective energy as well. And it's all part of, where do I find my power? What does sovereignty mean? What does it mean to me? How do I want to feel? How do I want to live? One of the strongest questions I believe that we can ask is, why me? Why now? Why am I here? If I chose on a soul level to be here on this planet right now, what is my role? How can I contribute? Irrespective of my little self, just the little me that's living this life, and maybe it'll be living until 70, 80 or 90 years old. If I had to expand my consciousness and look and see, okay, we're a collective, it's not just about me, how do I want to contribute? So this is really alchemical. It's a continuation of themes from last year and the bringing in of new themes. The awakening concept, the awakening that we've been discussing, we're in it. This is part of it. And it's not to be despondent because it's not happening in our ego timing. It's to see that it is happening. It absolutely is happening. We are entering into a time with the nodal change. The nodal shift has come from the axis of Gemini Sagittarius and moved into Taurus Scorpio, which is much more earthy, much more grounded, much more heart-based as opposed to head-based. So that's giving us a big clue. How can I actually live more from my heart and less in my head? Do I need to spend some time just being every day instead of gobbling up information all day long, which can be an addiction? It can be something which takes us out of our feelings. The nodes in Taurus are saying, feel in your body what you need to feel. Process it. Release that which you don't need. Process it. Hold a space for it. That's what this Cancer full moon is saying. Hold a space for what is arising. Hold a space for the transformation that you're experiencing, for alchemy. Allow whatever needs to go. Don't hang on to it. And I think this is true for relationships, for homes, for careers. If something is really not resonant with you, bearing in mind that we're frequency holders and that frequency is everything, all about frequency, if something is not registering and resonating with your frequency, then seriously look at how you can change it and how you can move into something that's more aligned with your frequency. It's a bit like a car. A car needs spark plugs. I'm not a mechanic at all, but I know that it needs spark plugs to actually trigger it into going. And that means that there's got to be an energy there. If there isn't an energy with your job, your career, your home, then look at it and say, what needs to shift? This is the time. Because this year is going to be all about frequency. Whatever we feel inside us is going out and creating our reality. So if we feel victimized, that's going to be our reality. If we feel disempowered, that's going to be our reality. If we feel joyful, peaceful, blissful, creative, that's what we're drawing to us. And I believe that that's what we're going to be seeing more of, that we actually do create our reality. On an energetic level, there is absolutely no doubt that we create this new reality. We're moving into a time with this Taurus Uranus and the nodes in Taurus of taking us back almost into a slower way of being, possibly to counter this huge technological thing. If you haven't done any research, the Internet of Things, they're talking about the Internet of Bodies, which is quite a mind-boggling concept, that your body will be read at any one moment by surveillance. There's a lot on the internet. Have a look and see those things and make your choices as to where do I want to be. If you look at China and the social credit system, it's based on a digital ID. Do we want that? Do we want that for our kids? Do we want that for our grandkids? Do we want that for ourselves? It's choices. This is a time of choices. Irrespective of what your views are, it's what is my choice going forward? Do I want to be automated? Do I want to be surveilled? Do I want my mind, my thoughts to be monitored? Well, I don't, that's for sure. So maybe it's a way of us moving into a calmer, more peaceful, more grounded, more earthy way of life to counter the very techno-driven world that is being perpetuated and accelerated. And it is being accelerated. Do I want to live in freedom? Do I want to live in control? How do I want to show up? So get ready for some amazing energy this year. This Neptune Jupiter is definitely promising us the ability to connect more deeply. And I believe that connecting more deeply, connecting more often, dropping down into our hearts, away from our heads, simplifying, slowing down, taking time to be in nature, taking time to just be. That is what is going to help us navigate whatever we have coming. It's going to bring us the endurance, the resilience, the strength to navigate whatever is coming. We really do encourage you. John and I are running another Journey to Freedom course, which is starting on the 27th of January. It really is, we started this when we first went into lockdown, and it's been really invaluable for the people who have done the course to actually help them navigate what they've navigated over the last 2 years. And we see it as being a help in terms of it's very strong. We build a very strong community, and there's a chance to really, really look at the conditioning, look at what you need to let go of, how you can be more sovereign, how you can be more loving, how you can step into love and out of fear. That's what Journey to Freedom is about. It's a 13-week journey. So unlike a retreat where you come in and you go out in a few days, which is beautiful because it's personal, this is an online journey, but it really has depth because it's so long. So you really get to practice, you really get to connect with yourself on a deeper level than you may have done before, for a long time. So it starts on the 27th. We offer the first week for free, and the first week is Life Vision, which is crucial for all of us anyway. It's a standalone week's course. In that week, you get 2 Zoom calls, and you get a whole lot of stuff on a membership portal. And that gives you an idea of whether you want to do the full journey or whether you just want to explore your vision for the year. So it'll definitely help you do that, even if you don't continue on the full journey with us. So please check that out. It's on our website, journeysofawakening.com, and it's right there for you to investigate and explore, and let us know if you have any queries in that regard as well. We are going to be giving away a bursary to one person to do the course for free, and the condition there is that you do both of the Life Vision Zoom calls, and then we will choose somebody from that to actually give them the course for free. So that's also there as a little bit of a incentive to do the Life Vision course. We also have our Inner Space community, which continues to grow and continues to provide support for people during these changing times. And you can see that also on journeysofawakening.com, and you can join us for that on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. It's up to you. Each month we have a different theme and we investigate different ideas. Next month will be on perspectives. And so we'll look at those. And that's very, very interesting. Perceptions and perspectives in terms of going forward into the new year. I'm available for readings at the moment. I've got a bit of a delay because I've had a busy start, but you're welcome to email me and set up a meeting to see where all these things are taking place in your chart, particularly the nodal axis. That'll be lighting up or sort of amplifying the different areas in your chart, the houses. So I can have a look at that for you, and also to see where these big energies are actually playing out in your chart as we head towards some interesting stuff. The US has the Pluto return coming up in February, and that's going to be sort of ongoing for the year. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there. There'll probably be more control and more collapse happening there, and it'll probably have to do as well with the economy and the government and the societal systems in America, which then ricochet throughout our earth. So this is about building a new tribe, a new earth, a new vision, and building new community. Our little, our inner space community, our journey to freedom community, it's to build new community. And yes, a lot of it's online, but that's going to basically be spread and have roots and branches out into the physical community as well. Because I think that's our way forward, is to build strong, secure communities that are not top-down governed. They're governed by the people. That's my perspective. Each person's got their own perspective, but I think that's what we're moving towards, and that's the healthy way of living. So I hope that's been helpful and given you a little bit of insight for the year ahead. Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel. Release what you don't need. Keep coming back to the heart. Keep coming back to that which feeds and nourishes and nurtures your soul. That's the way we're going to get through this. And we are getting through this together. Lots of love.